Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take your sources, pull out those really crucial bits of knowledge, and basically give you a fast track to getting informed. And today, we're jumping into something I think many of us dream about, but maybe don't always define clearly. Financial freedom. What does that actually, bring to mind for you? Is it all super yachts and private jets? Or maybe well, something a bit more personal? Because the material we're diving into today, it might just shift how you think about it entirely. So our deep dive is built around a beginner's guide to financial freedom. It comes from excerpts of an article, but that article itself was based on a live, pretty interactive workshop. We're aiming to capture some of that live energy, the insights, the feeling of actually being there, not just reading a summary. Our mission: uncover what financial freedom really means to people, look at how maybe our old ideas about job security are a bit shaky, and then get into the practical stuff. A 4S's framework and the skills you need.
Yeah, and what's so compelling here, I think, is that it really moves beyond just like piling up money. It's more about a mindset shift, isn't it? Redefining what a successful life actually looks like. More agency, more control, maybe not just a bigger bank balance.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
And it leads straight into our first big insight.
Yeah.
This surprising idea of what success even is. You'd think, okay, a workshop on financial freedom. It must be full of wannabe billionaires, right? But the source, looking at poll results from that actual workshop, found something really, eye-opening. These attendees, they were all sorts. Some just starting online, others with over $1 million in lifetime revenue. But they weren't mostly chasing huge fortunes. No, the thing that kept coming up, the thing they wanted more than anything: time freedom. Flexibility.
Right.
And this apparently really echoed the author's own story. He started med school at 18, thinking that was the secure path. But he saw lots of doctors who, even loving medicine, were pretty unhappy because they had zero flexibility, no real autonomy.
Yeah, that rings true for many professions, I think.
Exactly. And he noticed the happiest ones. They were the doctors working part-time. So that led him to set this very specific kind of personal target for his own financial freedom. Not millions, but 3,000 pounds a month.
Okay.
Earned outside medicine. Why?
Right.
So he could cut back to working just 3 days a week as a doctor. That figure, $3K a month, became his benchmark.
So, okay, let's unpack this a bit. It completely reframes the goal, doesn't it? What really stands out to you about that initial motivation, that specific number?
Well, it taps into something fundamental, I think, this need for agency, for control over your own life. For a lot of people, that's just a much bigger driver than, abstract wealth. The source talks about this shift from just more money to more control over my time as a key psychological thing. Real wealth is about having choices.
Right, choices, not just digits. Exactly. And that desire for autonomy, it clearly connected with people. The author mentioned attendees came from all over Ireland, Germany, Brazil, the US, all converging in London for this. It also kind of highlights the value of doing this stuff together, in person. You get a different energy, different momentum than just like scrolling through an article online at double speed.
Yeah, that shared experience, that's something else entirely. It helps these ideas really land, I suppose. And speaking of ideas that maybe need challenging, the source then takes a hard look at how we're traditionally set up for the world of work. The argument is there's a big flaw in our usual idea of security. The author argues that regular schooling, it kind of teaches us dependence on one employer rather than fostering real independence. I mean, when you think about it, budgeting, investing, mortgages, basic taxes, these crucial life skills, not usually top of the curriculum.
No, definitely not. You often have to figure that stuff out yourself the hard way.
Right. And for the author, his big aha moment came from reading Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek. He said that book just ripped open his eyes to the idea that, hey, you can take charge of generating your own income outside the normal career ladder. As I was reading this section, it really hit me how ingrained those traditional security ideas are. We just accept them. And it feels like maybe the system isn't actually empowering us in that way. But it's not just the education piece, is it? The whole world of work is shifting under our feet.
Yeah, absolutely. And this raises that really important question. Are we maybe mixing up safety with security?
Right.
And what's the trade-off for our own autonomy? I mean, think about AI. Recessions popping up more often, economies changing. That old idea of a job for life, a totally secure job, it's just not as solid as it used to be.
No way.
The author uses medicine as an example. For ages, that was seen as the ultimate stable career, right?
Totally. Rock solid.
But now, he points out, lots of young doctors, highly trained, are facing forced moves to places they don't want to be just because there aren't enough spots where they are. That's a huge loss of control.
Wow. Yeah. That's not security in the way you'd think.
And he has this really potent analogy. He says, a maximum security job can end up feeling like a maximum security prison.
Oof.
Yeah. You might be safe getting that paycheck,
Hmm.
but you have very little say over where you live, what you actually do, how you spend your time. He apparently heard stories at the workshop from high earners feeling trapped by golden handcuffs,
Yeah.
Can't pursue things they care about, can't spend time with family.
Golden handcuffs. Yeah, I've heard that term.
It's a powerful image. It really drives home the point that, from this perspective, real financial security today means building your own independence, not just relying on one company or one job title.
Maximum security prison. Wow, that really
Yeah.
makes you stop and think about the trade-offs. It shifts the question entirely, doesn't it? From how do I find a safe job to maybe how do I build my own safety and freedom? Which brings us neatly to the author's take on entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
which, again, was kind of surprising. He admits he initially hated the words business and entrepreneur. Like he pictured factories and smokestacks and just cringed.
Right. It can sound quite intimidating or just not relatable for many people.
Totally. But reading the 4-Hour Work Week flipped that for him. He started seeing a business simply as, well, a structure.
Hmm.
A structure for independence and also for tax efficiency.
Okay, let's pause on tax efficiency for a sec. He's not talking shady stuff, right?
No, not at all. It's about using legitimate business structures. Things like deductions for business expenses, maybe setting up a company, ways that mean you keep more of the money you earn compared to just standard income tax on a salary.
Got it. So optimizing within the rules.
Exactly. Reinvesting that, save money into, say, buying back more of your time. And he realized this structure, this approach, gives you huge advantages. You get to decide how much you earn, or at least aim for, how you work, where you work remote, hybrid, whatever. But the biggest advantage, he says, full control over your money and, crucially, your time. That's the ultimate prize. And he didn't just talk about it, he actually did it.
Yeah.
Hit that 3,000 pounds a month goal within 2 years. How? By creating and teaching online courses for medical school applicants.
Connecting back to his own background.
Yeah.
Smart.
And it proved his point. Financial freedom isn't some lottery ticket. It's a learnable process. It's about skills, mindset shifts, and, well, practice, entrepreneurial practice.
So what does this mean for you listening? It sounds like it's less about having some innate entrepreneur gene and more about designing something intentionally, something that serves your life goals.
Right.
But what does that learnable process actually involve? The source gets practical here, laying out this 4S's framework. That seems like the blueprint.
Precisely. And this is where it moves from the why, the desire for time and flexibility, into the how. How do you actually build this? The demystification of business is so important. It stops being the scary thing and becomes, like you said, a tool for freedom. And the 4S's, that's the roadmap. Okay, let's break them down. The 4S's. What's the first one?
First up is strategy. And this isn't just about doing something you enjoy, though that helps. It's about finding a real need in the market. The author really stresses finding a problem people are actually willing to pay to solve. His medical applicant courses, perfect example. High-stakes problem, specific audience, clear solution. You're basically a strategic problem solver.
Right, so passion meets demand. It has to solve something for someone else, not just you. Okay, makes sense. So you've got your strategy, you found that need. What's next? How do you avoid just creating another job for yourself?
Great question. That leads directly to the second S, systems. This is absolutely key for that time freedom piece. It's all about building processes, structures, automation, things that let the business run without you having to do every single thing hour after hour.
Okay, so like tech tools or people.
Could be both. Think email marketing automation, online course platforms like he used, scheduling software, or maybe eventually delegating tasks, outsourcing. The goal is leverage, creating systems so the work gets done efficiently, even when you're not directly involved in that specific task. It's working smarter.
That feels like where the magic happens for actually getting time back, building a
right.
machine. Okay, strategy, systems, what's number 3?
The third S is sales. And yeah, for some people, this is where they might hesitate again, thinking of pushy salespeople.
Yeah, that cringe factor maybe.
Right. But the source frames sales differently. It's about clearly communicating the value you offer. It's showing people how your solution genuinely helps them. It could be through good marketing, telling your story effectively, demonstrating the benefits. For the author, he built trust by giving real value up front, showing his expertise, and directly addressing the worries of those medical applicants. It's value communication, not manipulation.
Okay, reframing sales as just, explaining the value that makes it feel much more achievable, less intimidating. So strategy, systems, sales. Got it. What's the final S?
The last one is scale. This is about growing your impact, your reach, your revenue without necessarily putting in proportionally more of your own time and effort.
Ah, so breaking that link between hours worked and money earned.
Exactly. It's leveraging things technology, maybe smarter marketing, perhaps building a small team eventually, or using freelancers. How do you serve more people or generate more income without just working twice as hard? The author's online courses are a prime example of scale. He could reach hundreds or thousands of students with roughly the same core content, unlike one-on-one tutoring. It's designing for growth.
Strategy, systems, sales, scale. Okay, that framework really does lay it out. It takes entrepreneurship from this vague, scary concept into, okay, manageable steps. But the source also mentions skills, right? Beyond the framework, those 8 to 9 essential skills. What kind of practical things do people need to actually do this?
Yeah, absolutely. The framework is the structure. The skills are what you need to actually build and run it. And the source is clear. These are all learnable. A couple that really jump out. Financial literacy. And not just, can I balance my checkbook, but understanding profit and loss, cash flow, making smart financial choices for the business. You can't get financial freedom without understanding the money side.
Right, the numbers matter. Can't escape them.
Nope. And another huge one is problem solving. Business is basically constant problem solving. Identifying the initial need, sure, but also adapting when things go wrong, troubleshooting tech, finding new ways to reach people. Things rarely go exactly to plan.
So being adaptable, figuring things out on the fly, and understanding the money, which again circles back to stuff we often don't learn formally.
Exactly. And then there's digital proficiency. I mean, today, it's almost impossible to build something scalable without leveraging online tools. Basic online marketing, maybe creating content, just being comfortable in that digital space. The author's whole model was online.
Makes sense. What else?
And finally, maybe obviously, time management and productivity. If the goal is time freedom, you need to be really effective with the time you do work. Prioritizing ruthlessly, maybe delegating sooner rather than later, cutting out distractions, making your working hours count.
It really sounds like a whole package deal, not just a business idea, but also the personal development to make it work. It all ties together, doesn't it?
It really does.
From wanting that time and flexibility to seeing how the world's changing and then getting this practical map, the 4 S's and the skills to actually build it. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up for you. This deep dive into a beginner's guide to financial freedom has given us some really powerful shifts in perspective, I think. We started by seeing that success, for many, isn't about crazy wealth. It's about time. It's about flexibility, control. Then we look at how maybe traditional education and old ideas of job security aren't serving us as well anymore. That maximum security job, feeling like a maximum security prison idea, really stuck with me. And finally, we saw entrepreneurship reframed. Not as some big scary thing, but as a structured path to independence. Using frameworks like the 4 S's strategy, systems, sales, scale, and building those essential skills, it's presented as a learnable, practical process.
Yeah, a journey anyone can potentially start.
Which brings us to the end. But maybe one final thought from you. Something for our listeners to chew on.
Sure. So, thinking about this changing world and this focus on time, freedom, and control, here's a question for you to ponder this week. What's just one assumption you hold about your career or your finances? Maybe something you consider secure or the way things are done that you'd be willing to question just a little bit, to examine critically.
Ooh, that's a good one. Just one assumption to challenge. Excellent food for thought. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into financial freedom. We really hope it sparks some new ideas, maybe giving you a bit of a roadmap, and definitely something to think about on your own journey. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.